Ava's primary school contacted Hopper, ordinance from class. Police believe Catherine took Ava Hopper to start an 8-year search for his daughter. Keep watching, because this next revelation could turn everything upside down. Could Diddy's adopted child actually be the missing Ava Baldwin?
However, I found a video that is so suspect.
I am a great father, but I'm sleeping with the... Tell me, who do you have a crush on? Tell Daddy's truth.
Hopper recalls getting the September 2015 call from Ava's school. Learning Ava had missed 21 days, he quickly called San Antonio police to report a missing person. Officers found, shockingly, that the address Ava and Catherine had on file was an empty lot. The timeline is intriguing. 2015 aligns with the age Diddy's adopted daughter would be now, 15. With the same name, age, and a history of living on the streets, it raises serious questions about a potential connection between the two cases.
Okay. All right, okay, he just helping out a nice little white girl that needed some, a family, okay? Okay, come on, y'all. Y'all smarter than this. Y'all smarter than this.
But there's more to the story of Ava that lines up. Hopper and Catherine's relationship had been unstable. The two married briefly, and Ava was born not long after their 34-day marriage. Living in central Oklahoma, while Catherine and Ava were in San Antonio, Hopper battled regular touch with his daughter. Hopper's attempts to obtain custody were repeatedly rejected, even though he hired 5 lawyers and paid over $45,000 in court expenses in Texas and Oklahoma. Hopper claims that Catherine's life grew more unpredictable as she reportedly slept in shelters, moved around, and had unsteady relationships.
If you're still not convinced that's her, here's a picture of her that her parents took. It's one of the last photos. Now, take note of her long forehead, her shortened chin, the jaw structure, the eyebrows, the eyes, the eye color, the cheekbones, and ears. And she just also happens to be the exact right age.
First, this office is determined to investigate and prosecute anyone who engages in sex trafficking, no matter how powerful or wealthy or famous you may be.
Once Hopper received a video of Catherine that we can't mention here. Child Services contacted Hopper. Hopper was only given partial custody in spite of this, therefore restricting his contact with Ava to summers and holidays. Hopper said Ava was the perfect little girl and clearly remembers the moment she discovered he was her father. She was in wonder, he said. She had no idea her dad existed. I stayed a secret. According to Hopper's sister, Tina Fulbright, Catherine, also referred to as Katie, was known for her erratic behaviors. She would move to another county after getting into trouble in one, Fulbright recounted. Erratic behavior from parents can significantly contribute to increased shyness and anxiety in children, as the instability often breeds insecurity and fear. Diddy's daughter, Ava, exhibits clear signs of this. There's an undeniable sense that something is off.
There's somebody out there that knows where she's at. Katie did not get out of San Antonio by herself. We believe she had help. We know that they are alive.
Hopper sought full custody in 2016 after growing worried about Ava's safety. Still, Catherine and Ava disappeared before the court procedure could finish. 7 months later, in April 2016, Catherine's silver 2014 Ford Escape was discovered left abandoned in a San Antonio park. Ava is supposedly 15 years old now, and Hopper has complete legal custody. Witness accounts and sightings. There have been reported sightings of Ava and Catherine in Florida, where Catherine allegedly attempted to hand Ava over to another couple. Similarly, recent photos and videos of Diddy's adopted daughter have sparked discussions about a potential connection, given the resemblances in appearance and
really deep similarities. And if you go watch the video, Ava actually claimed that, he just randomly found her on the street, which is,
Combs stood in Times Square and was handed a key to New York City. Today, he's been indicted and will face justice in the Southern District of New York.
Catherine has a felony warrant for violating child custody. News Nation met with the adopted and reared apart elder daughter of Catherine. She voiced concern about Catherine and Ava. The overlapping details between Ava Baldwin's disappearance and Diddy's adopted daughter cannot be ignored. Whether it's the name, age, timeline, or shared signs of distress, the pieces of this puzzle are intriguing, leaving us all to wonder if Ava Baldwin could be hiding in plain sight. San Antonio police still handle Ava's case. Hopper is still hopeful, citing documented sightings of Ava and Catherine, one in Florida when Catherine supposedly tried to hand custody to a couple in 2016. Hopper and his family often post notes on a special Facebook page, hoping Ava might come across it eventually and understand how sorely she is missed. It's difficult to see my brother through this, Fulbright remarked. All he has ever wanted is a family. He is entitled to have his daughter in his life.
But where has this little girl been? Because we haven't seen her her in a while. So my detective skills, I went to find her TikTok and try to see the videos she's been posting. So one, all of her comments for all of her videos are all right. And this particular video that I'm about to show next, I don't know why, but us clairvoyant people, it really spoke to me. She basically said that this is where all your answers are. Showing Star Island. Is this girl trapped on Star Island right now so we can't see her? Can she not leave? What's going on? And you can go look at her page and see all the other, kind of in code things that she's posting. If this girl is on Star Island and that's where all her answers are, when is the trip? Because apparently that's where all the bodies are buried.
Hopper agrees that handling Ava's disappearance's ambiguity is taxing. There are days I question she's still alive, he said, but I always respond with hope. Believe God is watching over her and that she'll come home one day. The matching name, comparable and overlapping chronology call questions. It's interesting that Ava disappeared in 2016. The same year Diddy's adoptive daughter apparently entered his life. Furthermore, the claimed shyness and anxiety symptoms in Diddy's kid would fit the tragedy of Ava's background.
I don't know about you guys, but that video and the way Diddy's acting raises so many questions. So many are asking, where's Ava Baroni Combs now? This is the most recent photo I found. There's another one I'm going to show you, which is this one right here. But sisters and Diddy are nowhere to be found.
We know that the couple that she tried to give Ava to, they contacted us, and that was after they went missing. So
the narrative of Ava Baldwin is unfortunately like that of countless children who vanish annually from the United States. Data show that around 365,000 children are reported missing each year. Many of these instances go unsolved for protracted time. Many of these cases center parents who take children against the terms of custody agreements. They have the same impact on the children and their families. These instances sadly usually get less public attention than those involving strangers. Ava's story attracted fresh attention, not just because of the possible link to a well-known family, but also as a portrayal of the difficulties parents seeking their children encounter. What tomorrow means for Hopper is dedicated to locating Ava, even though it has been years since she vanished. Recently, in search of fresh leads, chose to work with a new private investigator. Believing that increased public awareness may provide helpful advice, he is also looking for chances to highlight Ava's tale in forthcoming films on unresolved mysteries.
When armchair detectives thought they'd spotted Ava and Catherine in a series of TikTok videos.
we had that investigated. It turns out it wasn't them. But the only great thing about it is it brought a lot of attention to Ava's case. In fact, it went viral overnight.
Hopper has the power to search any reliable information about Ava's location, having complete legal custody in place. As he regularly reveals in interviews, his main focus is making sure Ava returns safely. How media affects cases involving missing persons. Cases of missing individuals depend much on the media. It may either highlight a case and generate much needed public awareness, or occasionally cause misconception and diversion from real leads. Although Ava's tale first attracted little attention, subsequent rumors linking her to Diddy's adoptive sparked curiosity. Though it's unknown if this greater focus will help the research, it has definitely raised awareness of Ava's tale.
See what he said? Did y'all really catch what he said? He picked me up off the streets. 1 minute, then he goes and say, because I was on the streets, living on the streets.
The IG Live breakdown revealed to the world. Did live session from April 20th, 2020. First look at it is a straightforward family moment full of love and affection.
No. What's your last name?
Ava Combs.
What's your other last name?
Ava
Spurred ongoing rumors. Watch intently and notice the minute boys, even the looks on their faces. Could there be signs in these everyday conversations implying a more profound, mysterious narrative? Could this apparently simple incident provide hints regarding the fate of Ava Baldwin, the small child who disappeared years ago under unusual circumstances?
So then he saw me and decided to pick me up.
Though the relationships are uncertain, it is difficult to overlook the overlapping time frames and physical similarities. The type of coincidence that keeps internet detectives up at night, putting together bits of data in quest of the truth. Could Diddy have a critical piece of this jigsaw, either deliberately or unintentionally? Is it conceivable that a lost youngster ended up in the care of one of the most well-known celebrities worldwide without anybody knowing? Although the notion linking Ava Baldwin to Diddy's adoptive daughter is primarily speculation and gossip, it is noteworthy from a legal and logistical perspective how improbable it is. It is quite unusual for cases of missing children to be concealed inside well-known families, as usually authorities or the media would find these circumstances. Also, Diddy has never been connected to Ava Baldwin's case, and no hard data specifically links him to her vanished state. Ultimately, the evidence is circumstantial at best, even if first look looks to be persuasive. Without conclusive evidence, this next link is a somewhat speculative notion driven by internet debates instead of real investigation results. Like many viral theories, it's a mix of convincing facts and leaps of reasoning that makes it fascinating.
And to date, we've covered more than 100 cases. It matters to us, and we know it matters to you. No matter someone's race or background, ethnicity, every single person that's missing matters. And this week's case takes us to Texas, a little girl named Ava Grace Baldwin. She was 6 years old when she was reported missing from her elementary school. She hadn't shown up in nearly 3 weeks when the school contacted her dad. Police believe that her mother took her, and for the last 8 years, her dad has been on a quest to find her. Here's Ava's case.
When I lose my tooth, the tooth fairy will come and get it and leave me money under my pillow because I lose the tooth and I brushed it nice and clean. Thank you, tooth fairy.
In September 2015, David Hopper got a call from his daughter, Ava Grace's elementary school. Ava hadn't been to class for 21 days. Did he know where she was? Ava and her mom, Catherine Baldwin, lived in San Antonio, Texas. David lived in central Oklahoma, a 7-hour drive away. Ava was the product of a 34-day marriage. David called San Antonio police to report his little girl missing. What they found surprised.
When we sent the police out there to the location of the last address that we had known from it turned out to be an empty lot. And that's when we kind of figured, okay, there's something going on here.
David says from the moment that Catherine told him she was pregnant, he sought to be the father that Ava would want and need. But getting that chance was more than difficult. David hired 5 different lawyers and spent upwards of $45,000 battling with Catherine in the courts, both in Texas and Oklahoma, to get a custody arraignment of his spunky little girl.
Partner, how you doing?
She's just the perfect little girl. She was really surprised to know that she had a lot of family on this side of the family.
All the while, David says Catherine's life was spiraling. He says she was in and out of church, shelters, and relationships as he fought for more access to Ava. But David says one day Child Protective Services was alerted to a salacious video of Catherine performing a sex act. 2-year-old Ava was in bed behind her.
CPS contacted us and said, if you will help us find her, then you can have your daughter.
David was given partial custody, driving 7 hours each way to pick up Ava for a month in the summer and holidays. He remembers what Ava said to him one of the first times he took her swimming on one of those trips.
You're my daddy. You're my daddy. She did not know that she would have a father. She was just in awe that she would have a father. Kind of kept a secret from her, I guess.
Tina Fulbright, Ava's aunt, says Catherine, or Katie, had a habit of running.
She just jumped counties. She'd get in trouble in one county and she'd jump to the other county.
Catherine has a felony warrant for interfering with child custody. Police records show she has a history of alcohol and prescription drug abuse and suffers from mental illness. But when David requested full custody over concerns of Catherine's ability to keep Ava safe, Catherine and Ava disappeared. It's been 8 years. Ava is now 14. David remains hopeful Ava is alive. He says there have been sightings of the pair since they disappeared, including contact from a couple in Florida who said Catherine tried to hand over custody of Ava to them.
We have reason to believe that she is alive. There's also a case down in Florida where we know that the couple that she tried to give Ava to, they contacted us, and that was after they went missing. So that was in 2016.
San Antonio police say there were other possible sightings of Catherine as late as 2020. Police confirmed they have records of her using nearly a dozen aliases. And hopes rose again last year when armchair detectives thought they'd spotted Ava and Catherine in a series of TikTok videos featuring a mother-daughter duo by the names of Bebop and Babe. Even Rolling Stone magazine featured the story.
We had that investigated. It turns out it wasn't them. But the only great thing about it is it brought a lot of attention to the case. In fact, it went viral overnight.
For now, David and his family post letters to Ava on a Facebook page, hoping one day she'll stumble across it and see how much she's loved and missed.
It's hard to watch my brother go through it. is its only child. That's all he's ever wanted was a family. And he deserves to have his daughter in his life.
It'll eat you up inside. Okay? So I do distance myself from it. But there's not a day that I don't wake up and I thank God that today could be the day. You never know. And yes, it gets disappointing after 9 years. Getting up and saying that prayer, thank you, Lord, that today could be the day, and it doesn't turn out that way, and it eats at you at times.
Bring that girl back home.
But God's my only hope. You ask me if she's still alive. Sometimes I have my doubts. I'll be honest with you. But when you asked me that earlier, I answered with confidence because I believe that God is true to his word, that he said he would watch over her, that he would protect her, he would keep her safe, and that he would bring her home one day.
All seniors who haven't claimed their spending card loaded with $3,300 have only 12 hours left before they miss out. If you do not register for your card in time, you will have to wait another 24 months to get it. For those who are not aware, every senior in Medicare is entitled to a free $3,300 spending card, which can be used in any store to pay for their food. Simply click below and follow the instructions to get your free $3,300 spending card in the mail today.
Were you recently injured in a car accident? Look for $160,000. If you're looking to get on the road for an injury, I want you to imagine you and your family getting that money, because I know a way that you can. Now, before you think I'm crazy, I want to show you how you can get that money you're owed in the next 30 days. Now, if you've thought about hiring an attorney before, but you didn't because you were unsure or you had reservations, it's not your fault. You were probably given no guidance and couldn't get a straight answer out of anyone about how much money you could actually make. I want you to capitalize on a limited opportunity that can have you cashing out a massive check in the next 30 days. This opportunity won't last long, and it's perfect for anyone who's been in a car accident in the last 2 years. Do you still think it's impossible? I'm willing to.
And then he would bring her home one day.
That dad not losing hope. Here to talk more about Ava's case, co-host of In Pursuit with John Walsh on Investigation Discovery and executive director at the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, Callahan Walsh. Callahan, welcome back and thank you. Ava's case involves a non-custodial parental issue. How common is that in the cases you all follow?
Well, at the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, we work on about 30,000 children's cases at any one time. And of course, children go missing many different ways. Some children run away from the home. Some children are kidnapped by their non-custodial parents. Some kids are kidnapped by strangers. Non-custodial parental abductions represent about 5% of our caseload at the National Center. So while it's a small percentage, it is something that we see quite regularly here in the U.S. And these cases are very sensitive. There's oftentimes many layers to them, and they have to be dealt with sensitively as well. You know, there's a child here whose life depends on, these court proceedings. And so while they can be difficult to manage, they are still cases that we're actively trying to, find these children, but return them to the parents that have rightful custody as well.
And do you see success in some of these non-custodial cases once you are able to cut through the complexity of the legal system?
We do. We absolutely do. And that's why we want the court system to be involved. We want to make sure that Ava, that somebody knows that she's safe. Right now, we just don't know where she is. We haven't seen her in so long. The mother is not cooperating. Her side of the family is not cooperating. And so, at this point where is Ava? Is she okay? Is she alive? Who is she with? We know the mother had left her with people she had just met, oftentimes for months at a time. And she even tried to sort of do a sham adoption down in Florida, where she had, written down by hand these sort of adoption papers to another individual who refused to take Ava. And so at this point, we just don't know where she is. We don't know if she's safe. And we know the father, who does have custody of Ava, has been missing her for these 8 years. She needs to be returned home. She has a loving family. They want to see her home safe.
This age progression photo that you all put together with the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children shows what Ava would look like now. She would be 14 years old. How critical is it that this new photo gets out there, circulates on the internet for people who have followed this case, or in the chance, Callahan, Ava's out there and sees it?
You're absolutely right. The most important tool when it comes to the recovery of a missing child, and I always say this, is a photo of the child. And so we do these age progressions to make sure that the image that we're putting out to the public matches what that child may look like today. Because again, Ava went missing when she was last seen when she was 6 years old. She's 14 now. That was 8 years ago. And so what we've done is age progress the photos using all the photos that we have of the mother's side of the family and of the father's side as well, to again try to determine what she may look like now. And she's 14. There's a good possibility that she doesn't even know that she's missing. There's also a possibility that she does know that she's missing, or that she may stumble across some of this type of content online. We know her father's family posts regularly on Facebook. They have a dedicated page for Ava. We have content like this that goes out. If Ava sees something like this, we all want her to know that she's loved, that that her family is looking for her, father is looking for her, and we just want to make sure that she's safe.
And how do you counsel families like the dad in this case, Callahan, on to holding out hope, giving them other cases of success where children have been reunited with their families when so much time has passed and it gets difficult to hold on to that?
It is difficult, absolutely, but we never give up hope here at the National Center. We know these families will never stop searching for their loved ones. We will never give up. We'll never stop searching. We also have a family advocacy division, a whole division of our organization that deals with helping the family, providing them services while they're looking for their loved one, and then services down the road as well. And we have a great program within the family advocacy division called Team Hope. Team Hope is a group of parents of missing children and children who've been exploited. And these are parents who, some of them, their children have been found alive. Some of them, their children have been found deceased. Some parents are still actively looking for their missing child. And so this is a peer support group together. They do trainings throughout the year, all sorts of different great, but it really is about the peer support. Sometimes it's just a call in the middle of the night from one parent to another that's walked in those shoes before, to let them know, hey, this is what's going on with the case. I know you want to get answers right away. We know not knowing is the hardest part, but they're there to support these families during that search, which can be just so difficult.
Right, and reminding them you are not alone. I understand, I sympathize. Callahan, we've gotten a number of questions and comments on Ava Grace's story once we posted it online, and people listening to our discussion now. One is from Lynn, and she asks about hiring private investigators in cases like this. We see it so often. What are the benefits of that, and how frequent do you see that happen?
We do see it happen quite regularly. It's up to the family and it's up to their discretion whether they want to hire a private investigator or not. It can be costly, but some private investigators will also offer their services free of charge or at a steep discount for these types of cases for these families. And so while we have seen some cases hire private investigators that really didn't amount to much, we've also seen it the other way around, where private investigators absolutely have been able to come in and provide information that law enforcement wasn't able to provide previously. With cases like this, when there's multiple jurisdictions and there's gray areas, sometimes it's about hiring a private investigator to hone solely in on just this one case. Oftentimes with law enforcement, they're working multiple cases at any one time, and their docket is continuously filling up with other cases. So sometimes hiring that private investigator can be the breakthrough that the family needs in finding that one piece of evidence. But again, it's up to that family's discretion.
Yeah, and it can be a resource issue for police, especially 8 years in, as is the case with Ava Grace. When was the last sighting? We mentioned a few times possibly in Florida. What do you know about the last time she may have been seen?
The last time that we know where she was officially seen was at her school. Now, it was the school itself that actually wound up calling David, the father, and alerting him to the issue that Ava hadn't been seen for over 3 weeks in that school. Now, Ava had actually been pulled out of a school previous to that because of an altercation that her mother got in with someone else that was associated with the school, a physical altercation. So Ava was no longer able to go to that public school, and then was then going to this other school, which she hadn't shown up to for over 3 weeks. When they called the father and let him know, hey, Ava, because he was listed on the information apparently when she was enrolled. So they called David and let him know, hey, we haven't seen her in over 3 weeks. There was a follow-up by law enforcement to go to the property in which Katie had listed on that enrollment information as well, which just was an empty lot. And so as soon as they realized, okay, she had been seen for 3 weeks, the address that Katie had given is a bogus address, that's when law enforcement really started to dig in, and that's when David started to dig in as well and fight to get his daughter back.
Our audience is so tuned in to each of these cases, and they don't miss any detail. And to your point about the school issue, Alicia says, why didn't CPS give immediate custody to Mr. Hopper given the circumstances? Do we have any court information about those interactions that you all have been able to get information from?
I'm not exactly sure. I know CPS had contacted David. They had informed them about the video in which she was seen in the background. So CPS was on CPS's radar, but these things do take time. There's still a court process. There's still things that need to happen. And because David living in Oklahoma and this happening in Texas, jurisdiction was a little bit of a gray area. Of course, Oklahoma isn't going to take it on, but by the time Texas was, San Antonio police were notified, it had been quite a bit of time since the last sighting. So you start from there? Where do you even begin this investigation? And I think that's what's so difficult is Ava's mother, Katie, really had a huge head start on getting in the wind and being able to hide and be out there without law enforcement knowing her whereabouts and David knowing the whereabouts as well. So again, I think that's why it's been so difficult to track them down at this point.
Yeah, it's challenging on so many levels. As you look at this case as a whole, what else stands out to you that you want to know more about, a road that you might try to go down to try to get more information?
Well, it's Lita Ava herself. She's 14 now. She may stumble upon this content, whether it's the images of her that we put out at the National Center, whether it's a show like this, whether, again, it's the Facebook page. It's likely that she will find out, that she's a missing child, and we'll see where it goes from there. Hopefully she will reach out. Hopefully she will self-identify. There's many ways that this case can be resolved. Again, we want to let her know that she's done nothing wrong, that she has a father that loves her. She has a whole other side of the family that loves her, to see her safe. And we want to get that message to her.
And finally, the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, you all are doing such incredible work in highlighting many missing cases across the country. How should people contact you and talk about some of the resources you have for families like David Hopper's and others who are in the region?
Absolutely. So I think many people think it's only law enforcement that can report a missing child, but that's not simply true. In fact, David was the one who alerted us to this case. And so we always say, the first thing you should do if your child goes missing, of course, is to call your local jurisdiction, call law enforcement right away, but then make sure that they report the case to the National Center, or you can report the case as well. That way we can get multiple things happening at the same time. Not only is there local law enforcement investigating the case, but the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, we're about to be 40 years old. We've helped recover over 400,000 missing children since our inception. So the expertise that we have, whether it's poster distribution or providing a member of Team Adam deployed boots on the ground to help coordinate with local law enforcement, whether it's volunteer searches, grid searches, landfill searches. Again, poster distribution is huge. But also, again, back to the family advocacy that we talked about, Parents with Team Hope. There are so many resources that the center has, including the federal partnerships that we've maintained over the years. It really is about bringing all this technology together, all these resources and all this information and expertise to help bring these children home home faster than ever before. But there's also great prevention education that we have here at the National Center. Of course, we want to make sure kids don't go missing or become exploited in the first place. And so we use all the information that we get as the clearinghouse for missing and exploited children's issues to help inform our prevention education material. So again, you don't have to wait for your child to go missing to have a touch point with the National Center. We have great prevention education programs that teach kids, even young kids, how to make safe and smart decisions, how to identify risky situations, learn how to avoid them. And all those resources are provided to families, educators, community leaders, all for free.
400,000 children, Callahan, since your inception that you all have helped find. It's incredible. I get this question all the time. You have the numbers. How many kids are going missing each year?
So again, we're working on around 30,000 missing children's cases at any one time, and that number can fluctuate. We do hear reports from the FBI that there's over 400,000 reports to law enforcement of children going missing last year alone. However, those are not the full picture. A mother may call law enforcement and say, hey, I don't know where my child is, even though they were down the street, playing at a friend's house or something like that. So when it really comes down to, the missing children's cases that need the full attention of the National Center, about 30,000 cases we're actively working.
And one that was recently in the headlines was the kidnapping of the girl in upstate New York who was thankfully found safe. How common are stranger abductions like that in the work that you do?
Luckily, stranger abductions are not very common, and they've been down over the years, which is fantastic. Unfortunately, we still are seeing about just under 100 non-family or stranger abductions annually. Too many, right? I think we had the number was 90 last year. If we had 98 NFL players being kidnapped every year, it would be a big issue, right? And so while these non-family abductions don't happen that often, they are the most dangerous situation for any child. That's why law enforcement considers any child who's been abducted by a stranger in imminent danger. So with this case that we had over the weekend with Charlotte in upstate New York, getting her back alive, especially after those 48 hours in good health, that's a miracle. That's why we do what we do.
Every single day. Thank you for the work that you do, Callahan Walsh. Appreciate your time as always. And if you have any information about the disappearance of Ava Grace Baldwin, you can call the San Antonio Police Department. We've got the number on your screen. And if you have a missing person case you think that we should be looking into, send it to us at newsnationnow.com/missing. You can also send us tips through our News Nation app. And as Callahan mentioned, great resource for any family dealing with a missing person, a child who has been missing or exploited. The National Center for Missing and Exploited Children has so many resources that can help. Thank you for joining us. I'm Marnie Hughes in Chicago. I'll see you back here next week for another missing case.
Just got this baby on eBay. I'm going bolder with my style and kinder to my feet. So beige.
What you feeling like that, Bill? For? I said, what you looking like that for? What is you doing, man? Okay. Right in the bed. What you doing? What you doing? I said, what he doing? I said, what he doing?
Y'all, the feds just dropped more information on Diddy's crimes. This particular bill allegedly involves information on Diddy's adopted daughter, Ava Combs. The feds finally spilled the tea on Ava and what really happened when she disappeared from the scene. Now, remember back in 2020 when Diddy was all over the place announcing Ava's adoption? Then out of nowhere, she just vanished like she was never there. Well, it turns out that there's a whole lot more to the story, and it looks like Diddy might have been mixed up in some very horrible business with Ava. But get this, people are saying that the raid by Homeland Security might have had a lot to do with Ava. A big chunk of Diddy's federal indictment allegedly centers around her. Y'all won't believe the wild claims about what Diddy supposedly did, because this will shock you to your core. All right, y'all, hold on to your seats, because this Diddy drama is just spiraling into the most horrible stuff in history. We've all seen the accusations piling up with Homeland Security raiding his properties over those trafficking allegations, and the feds eventually moved in and got an indictment against him. But here's the plot twist. What happened to Diddy's adopted white daughter? Yeah, you probably forgot all about her. A couple of years ago, back in 2020, when all the C stuff was going down, right? Diddy made a big announcement about adopting her, and then, just like that, she vanished from the public eye. It's almost like she never existed in the first place. So while everyone was busy talking about his latest scandals, nobody's asking the real question, where is Ava? And let me tell you, things are only getting more suspicious, but it looks like the feds just cracked the case. Back then, we didn't think too much about it because it was a time when people were mostly just online, and we didn't have all the info that we do now about Diddy. Sure, there were whispers here and there, and mostly about him being on the DL, but that's his personal life. There's nothing illegal about wanting men. Now, at the time, it just seemed like he was having consensual relations with younger men, not boys, so no one really batted an eye. But y'all, with what we know about him now, y'all, it's enough to make your skin crawl. Every new lawsuit coming out just shows an even darker side of Diddy. Like Cassie's lawsuit, it painted Diddy as a monster who mistreated her in every single way possible. Then you have Little Rod, who not only alleged that Diddy SA'd him, but also claimed he tried to pimp him out to other industry men. But the real mess started when Homeland Security raided his homes in LA and Miami over suspicions. That's when it became very clear that we were dealing with something serious. Up until that point, all the lawsuits were civil, no criminal charges in sight. But when the feds step in and do a full-on raid, then you know they've got some major dirt on him. But this just isn't another scandal. It's a whole other level of something else. After the raid, Diddy's lawyers came out to slam the feds and claim that they were just piling on Diddy and trying to cause drama for him and ruin his public image. His lawyers said this unprecedented ambush paired with an advanced, coordinated media presence leads to a premature rush to judgment of Mr. Combs, and is nothing more than a witch hunt based on meritless accusations made in civil lawsuits. There has been no finding of criminal or civil liability any of these allegations. Mr. Combs is innocent and will continue to fight every single day to clear his name. Well, a federal officer replied to this and said, "We believe that there is a disturbing history of S trafficking. We are responding to concrete, detailed, explicit allegations. This is not random. We didn't just choose his name out of the hat. We had allegations that we're following up on." Well, things have definitely progressed since then, and Diddy is now in the custody of the feds. He requested for bail, offering to pay $50 million, putting up his house and his mom's houses up as collateral. But he still got refused and was ordered to remain in custody. This put into perspective just how dire the situation is. The first indictment document they released was bad enough, but then they just dropped an update. Y'all, Diddy was a menace, if this is all true. One of the updates included something on Ava Baroni, and unfortunately it looks like her experience with Diddy was not exactly sunshine and rainbows like we had hoped, because the feds are painting a very horrible picture. Let's rewind back to 2020. Remember when Diddy hopped on Instagram Live to reveal that he had adopted a white girl named Ava? He had her on there introducing herself and talking about being adopted by him. The whole thing was very random but very sus as well. It left everybody confused, questioning what was really going on. It was like she was on the block being sold or something, talking about she's a Scorpio. But fast forward to now with all this new drama coming to light, and the mystery surrounding that moment just keeps getting murkier. Like, what was really going on?
My name's Ava. I'm a Scorpio.
No. What's your last name?
Ava.
What's your other last name?
Ava Baroni.
Ava Baroni Combs? Yes, it's breaking news. Diddy adopted a white child. I want you to tell them the story about how I adopted you. But you still have beautiful parents that you're my child also. But please tell the story.
So, I was on the streets, and then Papa Combs decided that he would like to be a caring man. So then he saw me and decided to pick me up and said to come inside and play with his kids.
Ava, that's like a little bit like borderline suspect. If I we want to get it clear. I adopted you like Madonna adopted kids and everybody else adopted kids. Charlize Theron, everybody's ever adopted Sandra Bullock. I adopted you because I felt that you could, enjoy also having a black parent to take care of you and help you out. So, just clarify, because it's crazy out here online. So you play with the kids, and I got permission from your mother. Say all of that. It's crazy out here.
I adopted Lila when I was 6 months old. And then, basically, all the 4 of us, I opted.
Yeah. And it's Ava Combs.
Back then, we thought Diddy was doing a nice thing by adopting a child in the pandemic when the kids needed all the love they could get. But now people are side-eyeing him for all sorts of reasons. And that adoption video seems pretty strange in hindsight. And here's another major red flag. Diddy compared his adoption process to Madonna's, which is eyebrow-raising given Madonna's adoption controversies. Reports have suggested that Madonna didn't exactly follow the letter to the law with her adoptions. Last year, the Ethiopian World Federation accused her of human and exploiting children, claiming she misled parents into giving up their kids by promising them an education in the U.S., only to adopt them. It's curious that Diddy would compare his adoption specifically to Madonna's, especially with all the drama surrounding her. And fans are also questioning why Diddy only had his sons in that video. Where were his daughters? Hidden in the back somewhere? Well, Ava even mentioned wanting to play with Diddy's daughters, so where weren't they right there with her playing? Just his sons? And honestly, Ava looked very uncomfortable in the video. Fans were buzzing with all types of theories about why Ava looked so uneasy in that video. Maybe it was the vibe in the room, maybe she was nervous, because Diddy's sons have their own share of drama. Justin's name came up in Little Rod's lawsuit, and Christian's dealing with his own legal troubles. No wonder that atmosphere might have been a bit off. But here's the real kicker. Ava pretty much disappeared after that video. Sure, she was seen with Diddy's twins, Jesse and Delilah, a few times, but then it was like she vanished into thin air. No family photos, no videos, nothing. Considering Diddy had her calling him Papa Combs, you'd think that she'd have been around more. Now with all the scandalous allegations of Diddy's mistreating women, and fans can't help but wonder if something shady happened to Ava. It's turning into a real-life mystery, and people are left speculating about what might have really gone on behind the scenes. But here's where things got even worse. Diddy's former bodyguard, Gene Dill, stepped in and dropped some major tea. Gene also touched on the rumors about Diddy doing something shady to Ava. While he didn't spell it out directly, he dropped some heavy hints, saying that everybody in the industry knows what Diddy's really like. Talk about spilling tea.
And you know what's so crazy is, bro, that all these stories has been around the industry for a long time. All these industry people know that Diddy doing this and trying to engage. A lot of stories that goes around in this industry about not just him, other people. Jimmy Iovine. Ain't nobody talking about Jimmy Iovine. He got sexual charges and everything on him. But he got those publicists that's keeping it out off of CNN. That's keeping it off the major news reports. Nobody's talking about that. This is something that goes on, man, that they're gonna push up under the rug, and a few years later, Bad Boy 5, 6, 7, 8 will be out.
50 Cent also believed that Diddy allegedly did some things to Ava, and he was one of the first to hint that the feds had found videos of Ava during the raid by Homeland Security. According to an insider, 50 Cent allegedly had some hard evidence going to be heavily featured in his up-and-coming documentary. When is it coming out, 50? For context, last year, 50 Cent announced that he was doing a documentary on Diddy, saying, "Diddy do it? Coming soon, GLG, Greenlight Gang, and another one." He also said, rapper, I thought Diddy was a billionaire music mogul. If he's smart, he will file for bankruptcy now. Anyone with real money knows why I'm saying this. I'm the best producer for the job, guys. Here come the receipts. Dismissed his talk of making a documentary, thinking it was just another one of his elaborate jokes. I mean, he's known for being a bit of a troll. But surprise, surprise, turns out this time he wasn't kidding around. He was big serious. He then hinted that there were more disturbing details about Diddy that the feds were keeping hidden. Like when he said, this is why they put the tape out. They know we can't charge him with what we saw, but they know we can't unsee what we saw.
So, baby, he ain't had nothing to do with that.
What we saw, but they know we can't unsee what we saw. Now, I don't know how 50 figured this out, but according to a federal leak, the feds allegedly have evidence of what happened to Ava, and unfortunately, it doesn't look good. Now, we don't have the full story just yet of what exactly happened, but when that case goes to trial, this is going to blow up serious because we'll find out the true context and extent of Diddy's crimes against women, as well as his male victims, and it's looking bad. Y'all, this situation is the makings of an absolutely crazy nightmare, but the fans have been all over it. They believe in comments saying, did anyone else feel uncomfortable by the fact that Diddy made a point to put his white adopted girl on the spot to tell her adoption story? She clearly was uncomfortable with the whole situation, and Diddy and his fam were just laughing and flaunting her like an object. I adopted you just like Madonna. Well, Mr. Madonna is being investigated for child trafficking and banned from other countries. There is so much wrong with this video. It's chilling. Sick people. And this whole Diddy situation seems a lot deeper than I think we all realize. Y'all, this is getting crazier by the second, but I gotta know what you think about it. You think Ava's okay? I think that she's gonna be a key player in this case. Drop your thoughts and comments below and in this next video.
Damn. Shit.
All right, y'all. Things just got a whole lot more intense in the Diddy saga. The feds are digging deeper into Diddy's shady past, and the latest bombshell involves his adopted daughter, Ava Baroni. You remember her, right? She was all over Diddy's social media back in 2020 when he proudly announced her adoption during the pandemic. Then, just like that, she disappeared from the public eye, almost as if she never existed in the first place. Well, according to the latest information, it looks like Ava's sudden vanishing act might be tied to something far darker than we ever could have imagined. The feds just dropped some serious info about Ava in connection to their ongoing investigation into Diddy's alleged human trafficking ring, and it's sending shockwaves through the entire industry. Homeland Security has already raided Diddy's homes in Miami and LA, uncovering some disturbing evidence, enough to get him slapped with federal charges. But now it's being suggested that a significant part of Diddy's federal indictment centers around Ava. And if the rumors are true, this is about to take a very dark and twisted turn. So let's rewind for a second and revisit 2020. At the time, the world was in lockdown, and Diddy, like a lot of celebrities, was spending a lot of time on Instagram Live. It was during one of these live sessions that he introduced Ava, a young white girl, as his adopted daughter. The whole situation seemed a little off, but people brushed it aside. I mean, it's Diddy. He's known for making bold moves. In the video, Ava awkwardly introduced herself, saying she was a Scorpio and that Diddy had adopted her. But looking back now, that video feels downright eerie. At the time, it just seemed like a feel-good story. Diddy, the mega-rich music mogul, adopting a child during a difficult time in the world. People thought he was doing something noble. But with all the revelations coming out now, fans are seriously questioning his motives. What was really going on behind the scenes? And more importantly, where is Ava now? That's the million-dollar question. Since that Instagram Live, Ava has pretty much disappeared. You'd think Diddy, being as public as he is about his family life, would be posting pictures of her or including her in family events. But no, there's been radio silence. While Diddy's sons and twins, Jesse and Delilah, continue to make appearances, Ava is nowhere to be found. It's almost like she was erased, and fans are demanding answers. The internet, of course, is buzzing with all kinds of theories about what might have happened to Ava. Some people think she might have been caught up in Diddy's alleged trafficking activities, while others wonder if she was sent away to protect her from the storm of scandals that were about to erupt. One thing's for sure, something shady is going on. To make things even more suspicious, Diddy compared his adoption of Ava to Madonna's infamous adoption of children from Malawi. Now, we all know Madonna's adoptions have been surrounded by controversy, with accusations that she didn't follow proper legal procedures and even misled into giving up their children. So for Diddy to make that comparison raises even more red flags. It's almost like he was hinting at something darker all along, and we just didn't catch on until now. Then there's the fact that Ava seemed visibly uncomfortable in that. Fans were quick to point out how awkward the whole thing felt, with one commenter saying, "Did anyone else feel uncomfortable by the fact that Diddy made a point to put his white adopted girl on the spot to tell her adoption story? She clearly was uncomfortable with the whole situation, and Diddy and his fam were just laughing and flaunting her like an object." Another added, "It's chilling how weird that video was. Something's not right."
And give me
But it doesn't stop there. Diddy's
your
former
son. Why
bodyguard,
you in the
Gene
back
Deal,
laughing?
recently spoke out and dropped some serious tea. Gene has been in the industry long enough to know what's really going on behind the scenes. And according to him, everybody in the industry knows what Diddy's really like. While he didn't spell it out directly, Gene heavily hinted that there might have been some seriously shady stuff going on with Ava during her time with Diddy.
And the mystery surrounding that moment just keeps getting murkier. Like, what was really going on?
My name's Ava. I'm a Scorpio.
No. What's your last name?
Ava Combs.
What's your other last name?
Ava Baroni.
Ava Baroni Combs? Yes, it's breaking news. Diddy adopted a white child. I want you to tell them the story about how I adopted you. But you still have beautiful parents that you're my child also. But please tell me the story.
So, I was on the streets, and then Papa Combs decided that he would
Left, sit down.
a hearing man. So then he saw me and decided to pick me up and said to come inside and play with his kids.
That's like a little bit like borderline suspect. I don't want nobody. You want to get it said. I adopted you like Madonna adopted kids, and everybody else adopted kids. Charlize Theron, everybody's ever adopted Sandra Bullock. I adopted you because I felt that you could, enjoy also having a black parent to take care of you and help you out. So, just clarify, because it's crazy out here online. So play with the kids. I got permission from your mother. Say all of that. It's crazy out here.
I took him Lila when I was 6 months old.
6 months.
And then four of us.
6 months.
I offered him over.
Yeah. And it's Ava Combs Tones. Look.
And of course, we can't forget about 50 Cent. 50 has been one of the most people calling out Diddy's behavior, and he's been dropping hints for a while that there's more to this story. If you remember, 50 even announced that he was working on a documentary about Diddy, saying, "Diddy did it, coming soon." At first, people thought it was just another one of 50's trolling moments, but it turns out he was dead serious. According to insiders, 50 has some damning evidence about Diddy's alleged trafficking activities, and Ava is reportedly a part of that story. 50 has hinted multiple times that the feds found something big during the Homeland Security raids on Diddy's homes, including videos that might involve Ava. One source even claimed that 50 Cent allegedly has insider info about what really happened to Ava, and he's planning to include it in his upcoming documentary. Now, if this is true, this documentary could blow the lid off the entire case, and Diddy's world could come crashing down. But the most disturbing part? 50 alluded to the fact that the feds are holding back on some of the most damaging evidence. In one of his posts, he said, "This is why they put the tape out. They know we can't charge them with what we saw, but they know we can't unsee what we saw." What exactly is he talking about? What did the feds find during those raids? And why is it so horrifying that even they are hesitant to bring it all to light? Right now, we don't have the full story, but when this case finally goes to trial, it's going to be explosive. The feds aren't playing around. They're coming for Diddy. And if what we're hearing is true, the crimes he's being accused of go way beyond what anyone imagined. And Ava, the girl who seemingly disappeared from the spotlight, could be the key to unlocking the truth. Fans are already speculating, with one person writing, "There's so much wrong with this whole Diddy and Ava situation. She disappeared too fast, and now with all this trafficking stuff coming to light, I'm really starting to worry." Another added, "If Ava was involved in this, it's heartbreaking. We need answers." As Diddy's legal troubles continue to spiral, it's becoming clearer that this situation is far deeper and darker than anyone initially thought. We're talking about potential crimes that could shake the entire entertainment industry to its core. And with names like Ava, 50 Cent, and Homeland Security all wrapped up in this mess, things are only going to get crazier. So what do you think? Is Ava safe, or do you think she's caught up in something much more sinister? And what do you think will happen when 50 Cent's documentary finally drops? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and make sure to stay tuned, because this story is far from over. Keep watching for more updates on this mind-blowing scandal. It's only going to get wilder from here.
Hello everyone, my name is Mara, and today's case is about Ava Baldwin, who is 5 years old when she went missing from San Antonio, Texas in September of 2015. And I have covered this case in the past. I will link the first video down in the description box. But I wanted to go back over this case because there is a very interesting video that has been brought to my attention. And I guess I wouldn't even say that this video is interesting. It's more strange and disturbing. This video was made back in April of 2020 when P. Diddy went live on his Instagram account. In this video, he is talking of his kids. But just a quick reminder before I get started that I always try to do the best research and get the most accurate information I can for every single case that I cover. But with that being said, let's go ahead. And he said when he met Katie, she told him this great story that he ended up finding out was not true. But they did end up falling for each other and they got married. But sadly, this marriage only lasted for 34 days. David said during the divorce proceedings is when he found out that she was pregnant. She told him that the baby was not his, but when they did a DNA test, it was found out that Ava was biologically his child. They then tried to discuss how they planned to co-parent Ava together. But it said that not long after Ava was born, Katie moved back to San Antonio and would disappear for days without being in contact with David. With all this inconsistency, a complicated custody battle began between Oklahoma and Texas. But then it eventually was just in Texas. David said in 2015, David asked for full custody of Ava. He then gets a phone call from the principal at Ava's school, saying that she has not been to school in 21 days. And they ask if he knows where she is, and because he did not know, this is when, on September 17th of 2015, David reports Ava as missing. The police then go to the address that was listed on Ava's school forms. But when they get to this address, it's just an empty lot. Katie's family has stated that they believe that her and Ava are no longer alive. And now years have gone by, and neither Katie or Ava have been in contact or been seen by family. Katie does have a history of alcohol and prescription drug abuse. She also suffers from mental illness and has not had her medication filled since 2015. 7 months after they disappeared in April of 2016, Katie's 2014 silver Ford Escape was found abandoned in a park in San Antonio, Texas. But then we go to April of 2020, where P. Diddy goes live on Instagram. And for those who don't know, P. Diddy, or Sean John Combs, is an American rapper, record producer, and record executive. He's also known by stage names such as Puff Daddy, P. Diddy, or Diddy. It's Easter of 2020, and P. Diddy introduces his 7 children and 1 grandchild. During the dance-a-thon, that is supposed to help raise money for healthcare workers. During this video, he asked Justin to step up. He comes up to the camera during this live video on Instagram and says, "Hi, I'm Justin, aka Just Flow. I'm a Capricorn and I'm about that action. And I'm about raising money for the healthcare people. I'm just so blessed and thankful. Thank you for supporting us today." And I'm assuming that these are his adoptive sons, but the next one that steps up is named Quincy. He says, "What's up, y'all? I'm Quincy. I want to say thank y'all for rocking with us." While he's talking, P. Diddy comes up and whispers in his ear, "One of the prettiest people God ever made." Then he says sorry and walks off. Quincy then continues talking and says he's a Gemini, if anybody was wondering. And thank you all so much for just tuning in with us. We felt the energy and we saw the comments. Let's keep it going, we wanted to do this, to just wake everybody up in a way of, a loving way. I hope everybody had a happy Easter. As he's finishing what he's saying, you then see a girl start walking up from behind them. And P. Diddy puts his arm around her and towards the camera. He tells her to introduce herself, and she says, "Hi, I'm Ava, and I'm a Scorpio." And I want a quick stop. If you compare this Ava to the age progression of Ava Baldwin, it's pretty crazy how much she resembles her. So if we go back to the video, P. Diddy says, no, what's your name?" Ava says, "Oh, Ava Combs." He says, "What's your other last name?" She says, "Ava Baruni." He says, "Ava Baruni Combs." He says, "Yes, it's breaking news. Diddy adopted a white child." He then tells Ava to tell everyone on Instagram Live the story about how he adopted her. He says, "You still have beautiful parents. It's just that you are my child also. Please, please tell the story." Ava says, "So I was on the streets, and then Pop Combs decided that he would like to be a caring man. So then he saw me and decided to pick me up and said to come inside and play with his kids." P. Diddy says, hey, Ava, that's a little bit like borderline sociopath. I don't want nobody to get upset I adopted you. Like Madonna adopted kids and everybody else adopted kids, Charlize Theron, everybody else, Sandra Bullock. I adopted you because I felt that you could, enjoy also having a black parent to take care of you and help you out. So just clarify it, because it's crazy out here online playing with the kids, and I got permission from your mother." He then tells her to say all that because it's crazy out here. And P. Diddy hugs her and says her name is Ava Baruni Combs and kisses her cheek. The video does continue with other children stepping up and talking. Some of them just say their name and their sign and then they move on to the next one. But it's just a super strange and almost scary and sad video because it makes you wonder, is this Baldwin? Did her mom possibly sell her to P. Diddy, especially with all of the news that came out recently? So on March 25th of 2024, federal agents with U.S. Homeland Security have raided 2 of P. Diddy's houses, one in Los Angeles and the other one in Miami. He is facing multiple civil lawsuits that accuse him of trafficking and abuse. But I don't know, I have a bad feeling that this really could be Ava and that maybe she was sold to him for however much money, or is it just someone that resembles her? Especially when people have an addiction, they will go to any lengths to feed that addiction, even if it is selling their child. But Ava's disappearance does remain unsolved at this point. I really hope with this whole investigation that P. Diddy will be held responsible for the things that he has done. And I want to hear all of your opinions. Do you think that this is actually Ava Grace Baldwin? But thank you so much for watching today's video. I hope you'll comment, subscribe, and I will see you all next time. Bye.
Y'all just dug out some shocking new information about Diddy's adopted daughter, Ava Baroni. And unfortunately, the situation is not looking good for Ava. In 2020, Diddy made a big deal about how he was adopting Ava from off the streets, but she disappeared as soon as she came on the scene, and for a long time, nobody even thought about her. Well, considering the allegations made about Diddy and the things the Fed said in their indictment documents against him, fans have every right to worry about Ava and what happened to her. So was Ava another one of Diddy's victims? Let's break this down. It's like Ava Baroni pretty much disappeared from the public eye and nobody realized what was going on.
While everyone's focused on his latest scandals, nobody's asking the important question, where did she go? And how on earth did he find a girl and adopt her only to dump her the moment the cameras stopped rolling? Let me tell you, things are getting sketchier, but it looks like the feds might have finally uncovered the truth. This happened in 2020, and at the time, nobody really thought twice about how weird it was for Diddy to randomly adopt a girl. I mean, sure, there was already talk on the streets about how Diddy was shady, but the tea back then was about how he was on the DL and had allegedly been intimate with a lot of male rappers in the industry. But hey, whatever goes on in his bedroom was his business, and at the time, we thought that everything that happened was all consensual, so it wasn't a biggie. His bedroom, his rules. But girl, with what we know now about him, it's enough to make your skin crawl. And we can now see Diddy for what he really is, and let me tell you, it sent alarm bells ringing in our heads. We have Cassie's lawsuit to thank for that because she pulled the mask off Diddy's face and showed us what he really was like behind the scenes. Lil Rod continued from where Cassie stopped, and he exposed Diddy for not only trying to SA him, but also passing him along to other men. He also claimed that Diddy partied with young girls in his studio and had brought them in by the busload. One of Diddy's neighbors even claimed that Diddy allegedly brought young girls to his house at night with buses.
Yeah, tell him stop bringing all the minors over here late at night. I live right next to him. He do too much. He be like, he's like, big buses. You just see all type of about. Especially at nighttime, like around 3 o'clock in the morning, it gets wild.
The real chaos started when Homeland Security raided his LA and Miami homes over trafficking allegations. That's when it became clear that this was way bigger than the usual celebrity drama. Until then, it was just civil lawsuits, no criminal charges in sight. But when the feds come in with a full-scale raid, you know they've uncovered something big. After the raid, Diddy's lawyers quickly fired back, slamming the feds and accusing them of just trying to stir up drama and damage his reputation. They claimed the authorities were piling on Diddy to take him down and destroy his public image. His lawyer said, "This unprecedented ambush, paired with an advanced, coordinated media presence, leads to a premature rush to judgment of Mr. Combs and is nothing more than a witch hunt based on meritless accusations made in civil lawsuits. There has been no finding of criminal or civil liability with any of these allegations. Mr. Combs is innocent and will continue to fight every single day to clear his name." A federal officer replied to this and said, "We believe that there is a disturbing history of S trafficking. We are responding to concrete, detailed, explicit allegations. This is not random. We didn't choose his name out of a hat. We had allegations that we're following up on." Things have definitely escalated since then, and now Diddy is in federal custody. He tried to secure bail, offering $50 million and putting up both his house and his mom's homes as collateral, but they still denied him and ordered him to stay locked up. That really puts the gravity of the situation into perspective. The indictment document was alarming because Diddy was a straight-up menace. Well, the streets are now saying that the feds didn't reveal everything in the indictment document and they left something out. Word on the streets is that the feds might have dug out something on Ava Baroni, and sadly, it sounds like her time with Diddy wasn't all sunshine and rainbows like we'd hoped. In 2020, Diddy went on Instagram Live to announce that he adopted a white girl named Ava, and he was more than happy to show her off on Live. He brought her on screen to introduce herself and talk about her new life with him and how excited she was to be a part of the Combs family. It was such an unexpected moment that everyone was puzzled, trying figure out what was truly happening. Fast forward to now, with all this new drama coming to light, and the whole situation surrounding that announcement just keeps getting sketchier and sketchier. Back then, we thought Diddy was just being a decent guy by adopting a child during the pandemic when kids really needed extra love. But now people are looking at him sideways for various reasons, and that adoption video seems pretty concerning in hindsight. Here's another major red flag. Diddy compared his adoption experience to Madonna's, which should have immediately sent off red flags because Madonna's adoption process has to be one of the most controversial scandals in Hollywood, which is saying a lot. Multiple people have come out to reveal that Madonna didn't always stick to the rules with her adoption. Last year, the Ethiopian World Federation accused her of human trafficking and exploiting children, alleging that she misled parents into giving up their by promising them education in the U.S. only to adopt them instead. kids were never meant to be adopted, but she twisted the law in her favor and got away with it. It's definitely interesting that Diddy would draw a comparison between his adoption and Madonna's, especially given all the controversy surrounding her, and honestly, it doesn't seem like a mistake. Fans are also wondering why Diddy only featured his sons in that video and not his daughters. Ava seems to be around the same age as his daughters, and she even talked about how excited she was to play with them. So why on earth were his daughters not in the live video? Ava seemed really uncomfortable in that video, and now we have to wonder why. The streets are talking about how Ava seemed uneasy, and there are a lot of theories about why. Was it the vibes in the room? Diddy's sons had their own share of drama. Christian's name came up in Lil Rod's lawsuit for allegedly helping Diddy find young girls, and Christian has been sued for SA, so it wouldn't be surprising that the vibes would be off, even if Ava couldn't figure out why. But here's the part that has people concerned. Ava seemed to vanish completely after that video. Sure, she was spotted a few times with Diddy's twins, Jesse and Delilah, but then it was like she disappeared into thin air. No family photos, no videos, nothing. Given that Diddy had her calling him Papa Combs, you'd think she would have been around more and he would have spent more time with his new daughter. Now, with all the shocking allegations against Diddy, mistreating women and all that stuff, fans can't help but to speculate if something shady happened to Ava. It's becoming a real-life mystery, leaving everyone wondering what's really going on behind the scenes. Here's where things get even more interesting. Diddy's former bodyguard, Gene Deal, stepped up and spilled some serious tea. He even addressed the rumors about Diddy doing some shady stuff to Ava. While he didn't come right out and say it, he dropped some heavy hints, claiming that everyone in the industry knows what Diddy is really like.
It's craziness, man. And you know what's so crazy is, bro, that all these stories has been around the industry for a long time. All these industry people know that Diddy been acting like this and doing this. It's a lot of stories that goes around in this industry about not just him, other people. Jimmy Iovine. Ain't nobody talking about Jimmy Iovine. He got sex charges and everything on him. But he got those publicists that's keeping it out off of CNN. It's keeping it off the major news reports. Nobody's talking about that. This is something that goes on, man, that they're gonna push up under the rug, and a few years later, Bad Boy 5, 6, 7, 8 will be out.
Unfortunately, things are not looking good for Ava right now. The streets are saying that she did not escape from Diddy without a couple of scars, and it looked like something bad might have happened to her. Now, I'm not saying that Diddy S8'd her or anything like that, but word on the streets is that she could have been exposed to Diddy's violent side. Honestly, this wouldn't be surprising because given how many women the feds have alleged that Diddy hurt, it wouldn't be surprising that Ava saw all that go down. Girl, this whole situation is a nightmare, and fans said, did anyone else feel uncomfortable by the fact that Diddy made it a point to put his white adopted daughter on the spot to tell her adoption story? She clearly was uncomfortable with the whole situation, and Diddy and his fam were just laughing and flaunting her like an object. I adopted you just like Madonna. Well, Mr. Combs, Madonna is being investigated for child trafficking, banned from other countries. There is so much wrong with the video. It's chilling. Sick people. And this whole Diddy situation seems a lot deeper than I think we all realize. This is a mess, but y'all let me know what you think about this and then check out this next video.